right, thank you. Welcome to a meeting of the Hartford School Building Committee. We are still doing these meetings through video conference. We haven't been able to Zoom in-person meetings, but we are working on that, and we will continue working on them. Hopefully, in the next several months, we'll be able to meet in person again. But we need to continue to follow the same protocols that we've been following for these video conference virtual public meetings. And so we have to do the participation part of it in a revised format. And that consists of sending chat messages through to our technical person in charge of the different platforms, and the next at the appropriate point in the agenda, I will ask whether those whether we have received chat messages, and to please read those to us. So if you do have a comment that you would like to make to the Hartford School Building Committee, please use the opportunity of using the chat function in whichever platform you're using. And when we get to item number 3 on the agenda, we will read those messages to the School Building Committee. And with that, I call to order the meeting and ask for a call of members.
Mr. Melvin Cologne.
Here.
Mr. Thomas Clark II.
Here.
Mr. Claudio Bazzano. Ms. Kim Oliver.
Here.
Mr. Craig Stallings. Okay, with 3 members present, there is a quorum. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have very, very detailed minutes from our September meeting, thanks to Mr. Little. They certainly capture the flavor of the meeting and a lot of the discussion. Hope folks have had a chance to review the minutes. And if you have any questions about the minutes, please express them. Comments? All right. In that case, I will ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moves, Kim Oliver.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver.
Second, TJ Clark.
Thank you, Councilman Clark. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? All right, we have approved the minutes. So hopefully we've given enough time for moving on to item number 3 on the agenda, which is public participation. Hopefully we've given folks who are viewing us on the various platforms time to send us via chat or via message their comments, and I will ask our technical assistant, Stan, whether we have comments from the public. Do we have people actually watching or following us today? All right, so just to repeat, we are doing public participation through the messaging functions. If you have a chat function or a messaging function, whichever platform, the YouTube platform or the Facebook platform, is that right, Stan? Yeah, if you can avail yourself of that, I'll wait another few seconds. Just let us know you want to make a comment. If not, we'll move on to other matters. So I'm guessing that nobody has texted us. Is that right? All right. Very good. Thank you very much. All right, let's move on to the next item on the agenda, administrative, and I will direct my question actually to Mr. Butkus. Do you have any administrative items for the agenda?
None today, sir.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Butkus represents our project manager on most of the projects, on all of the projects that we'll be discussing today. He is with Arcadis O&G CNR. That's a lot of acronyms in a name. All right, so moving on to the action items on the agenda, we will be with a amendment to an architectural contract.
Yes, first action item today concerning Weaver High School's amendment number 4 to the SLAM Collaborative. This is an adjustment for actual work relative to balances, which results in a credit of $8,724.18 against their design contract. It's been reviewed and approved by the Change Order Committee, and we ask your endorsement.
Okay, thank you. So, any questions about this amendment to the SLAM contract? I'm hearing none. Motion to approve.
So moved by TJ Clark.
Second, Kim Oliver.
Thank you. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Yeah, opposed? Abstentions? All right, this contract amendment is approved.
Very good. Next item up, also concerning Weaver High School, is Change Order 46 to Newfield Downs. This is a reconciliation of a few stray change order items and return of credits for unused allowances. The net value is a credit of $9,906. This also has been reviewed and approved by the Change Order Subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
All right. Any questions about this small adjustment, this small change order? Hearing none, motion to approve.
So moved TJ Clark.
Second, Kim Oliver.
Thank you, thank you. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? This motion passes.
Next, we have an item concerning Martin Luther King Jr. campus. This is amendment number 2 to JCJ Architecture. This is a credit of some allowances. We will be doing additional items, adding work to their contract, but right now this is taking the allowance number back, and we'll be doling out ad services on a specific basis. This credit of $100,000 has been reviewed and approved by the Change Order Committee, and we ask your endorsement.
So this is
TJ Clark.
an amount of money requested.
Yes, until the project supplement was approved by the state and the city council, we were frankly in a bit of a cash crunch, so we were doing some adjustments, and so they returned their allowance value in order for us to help the cash flow problem, and then deferred the request for additional services until we had the means to do so. So this takes money back from them, and then follow-on items will add to their contract.
Oh, okay, thank you. Any questions or comments on this amendment?
I'm sorry. I am misstating it. I'm looking at the wrong item. We previously had approved through the building committee the credit of $100,000. This item is the approval of $211,759 for specific increases in their scope of work. I apologize for misstating.
In addition to the 100,000, is that correct?
We took the 100 back, and now we're giving them 200. So it's in essence, it's a net increase. But we had previously, due to the cash crunch, taken 100,000 out of their contract.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. That makes a little more sense... All right. Now, any questions about this?
Yes, until the project supplement was approved by the state and the city council, we were frankly in a bit of a cash crunch, so we were doing some adjustments, and so they returned their allowance value in order for us to help the cash flow problem, and then deferred the request for additional services until we had the means to do so. So this takes money back from them, and then follow-on items will add to their contract.
Now, any questions about this? So hearing none, motion to approve?
So moved, Kim Oliver.
Second, TJ Clark.
By Councilman Clark. Thank you, Councilman. And so all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, this contract amendment is approved.
Next, we have an additional professional services amendment to JCJ Architecture, amendment number 3. This item is in the value of $50,000, which will be a time and material allowance to have their field representative available up to 2 days a week to assist with the oversight of the work that's in the gymnasium and auditorium, which were still to complete. We found that there was, as we have been doing throughout the project, there was value to having one of the architect's staff available to handle issues as they arose. This will give us that flexibility to continue doing that on a limited basis through the completion of the auditorium, which is scheduled to be turned over in December. Again, this is the time and material allowance. You'll only pay for what we use. The value here is $50,000. This also has been reviewed and approved by the Change Order Committee, and we ask your endorsement.
So we should read this as up to $50,000 rather than...
That is correct. I'll build on an hourly basis.
So any questions about this contract amendment to JCJ? This is the second contract amendment to JCJ. This is to have an actual person come on site. We've been using Jay as the architect from JCJ, and he's proven very valuable, and we hope to keep coming back. Any questions about this? If not, motion to approve?
So moved, TJ Clark.
Thank you, Councilman. Moved and seconded. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Abstentions? Nays? I think, yep, we're all set. This contract amendment is approved. Thank you.
Next, we have change order 19 to Downs Construction for the Martin Luther King campus. The total value of this change order is $217,666. The items are generally eligible for reimbursement with some small amount of rework on this item 507, which is of a limited value anyway. This has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
There's a credit there. Can you speak to the credit?
This credit goes towards an allowance to add graffiti coating to the exterior of the building. There were assumptions made, of the square footage. It was a price based on a per square foot cost, and it was reviewed in the field with the architect and the owner, and determined that there were more square feet of material than was necessary, so we're getting that proportional value back.
Thank you. Very good. Any questions or comments about any of these items within the change order? Hearing none, asking for a motion to approve.
So moved, Kim Oliver.
Second, TJ Clark.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, this change order passes.
Next item is purchase order increase number 1 to Lakeshore Learning. There was some additional, it was an additional carpet. Actually, it was missed in the original count. Certain grade ranges have a decorative carpet, colors of nature carpet, which was missed in the initial procurement of these items. We needed one more. The value is $440.69. This has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Right, thank you. This is a relatively small item. Any questions about it? Hearing none, motion to approve.
So moved, Kim Oliver.
Second, TJ Clark.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed, abstentions? All right, this change order is approved.
Similarly, we have purchase order increase number 1 to school specialty. There was an error that removed some items that were originally scheduled to be bought from the list of items regarding to the therapy swings for the OTPT area. That item is worth $724.65. That was, again, that was something we intended to buy and somehow was left off of the initial order. This too has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Any questions about this purchase order increase? Comments? Hearing none, motion to approve?
So moved, Kim Oliver.
Second, TJ Clark.
Councilman, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions? Okay, this purchase order increase is approved.
Next up is Buckley High School renovation, change order number 6 to Newfield Construction. This deals with some additional items for the office fit up at the Board of Ed. A request for information clarification on some fire stopping and fireproofing. And we have a small credit for removing some mechanical devices that were deemed not to be necessary. The total value is a net of $31,087. This has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Any questions? Comments? All right, hearing none, motion to approve?
So moved, TJ Clark.
Second, Kim Oliver.
Please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, this passes. And I should also say that Mr. Stallings is indicating that he will join us. I will let him know that we do have a quorum in case he's driving, so that might make a difference to him. Let him know that we have a quorum. And I also wanted to thank Ms. Oliver for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us at the last minute. I appreciate it. She said that at the beginning. Of course, Councilman Clark as well. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Next, we have change order number 7 to Newfield Construction for the Buckley project. There was some additional abatement regarding the Board of Ed offices. We had an item concerning the elevator. We're planning for 2 elevators in 1 shaft, and there was some additional steel required. A fire alarm device required by the fire marshal. We're upgrading some filters in the rooftop units in order to handle the COVID protocols to allow the Board of Ed offices to be reoccupied with a greater level of safety. Some work on the roof due to storm damage, and then some additional power and data. The total value is $51,080. This has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Any comments or questions? Hearing none, motion to approve?
So moved, Kim Oliver.
Second, TJ Clark.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? All right, this motion passes.
Next, we have purchase order increase number 4 to William B. Meyer for moves regarding the Welcome Center at Buckley. Total value of this amount is $7,430 to move the Welcome Center from their former home at 960 Main Street over to the new space created for them at the Buckley project at the Buckley High School. This will occur before the end of the calendar month. Their original purchase order was $74,000. The value of this item is $4,941.50. This has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you. Any questions about this purchase order increase? Is this a purchase order increase? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes. Any questions about purchase order increase on the board? Hearing none, motion to approve?
So moved, Kim Oliver.
Second, TJ Clark.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions? This motion passes. And let me just stop for a second. Mr. Stallings does want to join us, but I received a link for a Teams meeting, and in fact, we seem to be meeting on Zoom. So, Toya, is this a way that Mr. Stallings can join us?
Hold on 1 second. Just give me 1 second.
All right. Let's continue while, and you'll send me the text, so I'll forward it. Thank you.
Yes, I will.
Okay, so let's move on to the Burns School.
Next is change order number 3 to Pioneer Builders for the pre-K classroom work at Burns School. This deals with some framing and drywall regarding closets. It was less costly to put up new drywall and framing than it was to repair some of this existing plaster surfaces. That plus creation of the closet is worth $9,828. It has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Any questions or comments about this change order? All right, hearing none, motion to approve.
So moved, Kim Oliver.
Second, TJ Clark.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Okay, this motion passes.
And lastly, we have change order number 4 to Pioneer Builders for the pre-K classroom work at Burns. Total value is $17,642. This includes a credit of $25,000 for unused allowances that were within his general contract. The largest number that you'll see here is the fire alarm changes. There were additional devices necessary in order to bring the elevator up to code, and it turns out that the existing fire alarm panel in the building is incapable of meeting that need. So we're adding parts of the fire alarm system that will be usable in the final reconfiguration and renovation. So this is not wasted money, but it's a kind of a down payment on the future fire alarm system. It just needed to be done now in order to get the elevator up and running, rather than waiting for the building-wide renovation to take place. Again, the value in total net price is $17,642, which has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Any questions here? Comments? All right. Hearing none, motion to approve.
So moved, Kim Oliver.
Second, TJ Clark.
Thank you, Councilman. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Abstentions? Nay, abstentions? All right. This motion passes.
Very good. So we've completed the action items on the agenda. Next up are project status reports. Sal, can you give us a report on Weaver, please?
Yes, the Weaver project is nearing completion. We have a couple of outstanding items at the swimming pool, which pertain to some additional equipment, safety equipment that's been ordered and we're waiting on delivery. The press box is substantially complete. We did do a walkthrough with the landscaper this past week to identify some additional punch list items, which he has agreed to complete. And we are still awaiting that delivery of that waterproof door for the basement level. This thing has turned into a marathon, but supposedly is due sometime between now and the end of the month.
Any questions on Weaver from the committee? Hearing none, move on to MLK. Brian is not with us today, but I can report that work continues in the gymnasium. We are on track for handing the space over to the school for use for classes by the end of October. There is some work regarding the guardrail for the seating area in the mezzanine that needs to have some rework. The contractor has got to make some corrections. So it's possible that the seating area in the mezzanine will be turned over at a slightly later date, but we'd rather make sure everything is in proper form from a safety standpoint before we turn that space over to the school. But the gymnasium itself will be usable as a teaching space, but by the end of the month as planned. Any questions on MLK? I should also say the work in the auditorium continues, and that is on schedule for completion by the end of December.
Thank you.
So hearing no questions, Toya, can you bring us up to date on Burns, please?
Yes, on Burns Pre-K, we're about 95% complete. We're just waiting on the first school vacation to complete the oil tank removal, and then the Burns Pre-K renovations will be completed. And go ahead, Jack. Were you going to say something?
Art. So all of the aspects of this effort that affect the teaching space have been completed, correct?
Correct. We're just waiting to remove the oil tank. In regards to the Burns School renovation, we're still on hold due to budget concerns. Ongoing meetings are going on with the state, the Board of Ed, and the design team, and they are being held to come up with a solution.
We had a meeting just this morning, including several representatives from OSCG, and there are some aspects of the design that OSCG is asking the district to rethink, so that we can trim some costs from the project. I think that the architect and the construction manager were clear on the target that we're shooting for, and are back to the drawing boards literally to come up with some solutions to get us down to that number. It's still going to be a little effort in order for us to get there, and then ultimately get the green light from the state that we have come within the margin that they can allow for us. But everyone is still working diligently on the task. It's the start of construction, or the release for bid date is sliding slightly, but we'd rather have a project that we can afford than go out to bid and and then have the headaches down the road. So we're trying to solve those problems presently. Any questions from the committee on Burns? Hearing none. Sal, Buckley, please.
Okay. The Board of Ed space is substantially complete. They're still working on some punch list items, but the space is complete, with the exception of that area immediately adjacent to the elevator, which would be the reception area. That is dependent on the completion of the elevator installation. Elevator was supposed to be delivered today, and they're looking at probably 3 to 4 weeks for the completion of the assembly and installation of the elevator, inspections and certification. That also holds true for the first floor welcome center area. Again, that area that's directly adjacent to the elevator is lagging behind because of the completion of the elevator. The balance of that space will be completed prior to the end of this month. The new furniture delivery is scheduled for the 25th, and the move itself out of 960 Main is scheduled to happen on the 28th, which would have them out of the 960 Main location prior to the end of this month, when their lease expires.
Looking forward to the renovation proper. Can you give us an update there?
Not quite sure where you want me to go with that, Jack. The renovation of the school is still under design. We have additional meetings scheduled with the Office of School Construction Grants concerning the funding of both the school proper and all of the support spaces for the district. So that's still a work in progress.
Also want to remind us that we have a construction administrator working on this project, Cap. We have Antonetta and Annette present. Do you have anything to add? Either.
Hey, everyone. I know the team has been working diligently to design the project and get it within the budget. We have actually quite a few meetings this week to go through and review. Hopefully we can present that to the committee shortly.
Thank you. All right. So, Jack, if that's it with the project status reports, are there any questions concerning any of these, Buckley, Burns, Martin, MLK, or Weaver? And if not, let's move on to the Equal Employment Opportunity Status Report.
Kurt, can you give us a summary on our employment status? Is he still with us?
Big moment. I hope so.
What happened to my list?
I have a phone number here that's not identified. That's the only possible person it could be, I think.
I think that's Tony. I think
He's not here.
he dropped off. He was on the call earlier.
Yeah, he did drop off. That phone number is from me.
Okay.
Tony.
Well, please, can you tell us what he's going to say?
Given the fact that we're in closeout on Weaver, our numbers are not changing appreciably to what we've reported in the past. We're just in punch listing in those minor areas of work that Sal had mentioned. At MLK, against our goal of 30% Hartford resident, we were most recently at something in the 27% range, which again, given the volume of work that was active in the city at the time, we knew that we were coming in a bit short. So 27 is actually a little above. We were thinking we might not make 25. So 27 is working all right for us, and the contractors that are still engaged with the project are some of the finished trades are adding some additional hours to that. But again, we have some specialty work where those people come from wherever they come from, and it's predominantly the artistic painting in the auditorium, which I believe is contributing 0% as a subcontract value. But in balance, we've come closer to our 30% goal than we thought we might. As I said, we're above 27. Burns School, the number of hours that were invested there in the pre-K portion of the building is just a drop in the bucket to the overall hours that will be provided through the school renovation, and the CM is fully on board with the protocols, having done previous projects in Hartford. So they're geared up to, as we move closer to the end of design, to begin building their bid packages in order to maintain our MBE subcontract expectations and to move forward with our resident requirements as well. And a similar comment on Buckley, the numbers for the Board of Ed space itself, which was treated as a general contract outside of the PLA, had slightly different resources available than we would have had under the full building-wide renovation. And again, Newfield is a very capable firm as far as meeting our goals on previous projects, and they're fully on board with crafting the work in such a way that we can do so. Any questions on EEO? If not, moving into project closeout, the list as you see it presented, the 15 projects that were we refer to them as legacy projects. These are projects that were in the city's pipeline prior to our coming on board as the program managers. These are awaiting review by audit. We know some of the work is in the audit process. Other items are still to be put in front of the audit team. And as we understand it, some of these projects were deemed to have considerable amounts of funding that the city would owe the state, as the state had overpaid. We understand that there is work going on with the state to try to forgive some of those debts, so to speak. And until this entire list is audited, I don't know that that number will move into the legislature for some sort of action or not. We have not been privy to those more detailed conversations, but the information that has been shared with us is that there are some items of considerable value that would need to be repaid that has prevented some of the funding from projects that have been done in recent years, most notably West Middle School, from having the monies that were due to it finally paid to the city, because the state wants to be able to offset some of the amount that they're asking, in essence, for the city to write a check for, or that would be forgiven by legislative action. So right now, the charge that we're under is to bring MLK and Weaver to financial closeout as quickly as we can, which we anticipate should be achievable by first quarter of 2021, calendar year 21. At which time we'll tee those up for the auditors and try to move that through the process as quickly as possible. And that's it on closeouts and audits.
All right, any questions on closeouts and audits? Moving on to other business. Is Corporation Counsel on the here?
Lori had a conflict. She was not able to join us today.
All right, and so just Councilman Clark, if you're still with us, I see you're muted, but I know you had a question about a MLK, I believe it was it Weaver?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Do you have an update for us, or?
No, I don't have an update at this time regarding where my request stands from our last week's meeting. So through you, would it be possible for to circle back with Corporation Counsel's office to see where this actually stands, so we can per my request from last week's meeting get some type of clarity and hopefully closure to this situation?
Thank you. So, are you asking me to to get in touch with Corporation Counsel to see? Are you making a request that I get in touch with Corporation Counsel?
Yes. And if there's any additional information that Corporation Counsel's office will need from me that was sent to me, I can certainly provide that.
Okay, I will send Ms. Zirac, Council Ms. Zirac, a communication and convey that request to her. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Any other business?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Chair. The question I have, do we keep any data in regards to change order requests? Is there any data per project or overall on a yearly basis around change order requests?
We keep comprehensive data on that. We have volumes and volumes of data, so I will ask Mr. Butkus to respond to that. And thank you for asking the question, Councilor.
Yes. So as a follow-up to those questions involved in that data, number one is what is the percentage on each project, have change order requests? And then further, with those change order requests, what is the percentage of an increase in ask as opposed to decrease? So those are the things that I'll be interested in. If folks can provide me with that data, I would greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. So you're asking that Arcadis, ONGC, and our just compile that information for you, and not to provide it at this meeting, of course, but to
Right.
compile it for you. Okay, that's very good, and that's a very good question. It's always important to keep track of where we are with the budgets. It may seem that we have we're spending a lot of money in change orders, but in fact, we do have contingencies built in for these kinds of things that are unexpected. So we will provide you with that information. Jack, am I speaking for you as well?
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
So through you, Mr. Chair, like I said, if you guys have that already compiled, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. I'm not asking that somebody create a new report, but if that data already exists, I would love to see the tool that is currently being used.
Sure, we have for projects that have been financially closed out, we have those numbers crunched, and we also identify by reason code. Is it something that was missed in the design? Is it an owner's request? It was did the fire marshal want something? Was it was it a field condition? We have all of the changes categorized, but we for the more recent projects that have not been financially closed, we do not have definitive data, but we can we can gather to the extent we can on the newer projects. But the older projects that have gone to the auditors, we have all that together.
Great. So Mr. Buckets, I would imagine that these are probably comprehensive data sheets. So if you could give me like a clue, like highlighting what I'm looking for in yellow in those data sheets, that'd be greatly appreciated. If not,
I would expect that a complete listing of every single change proposal that came through is probably not as informative to you as we started. It was worth $1. We ended up spending $1.05.
Right.
And these are the various reasons why that $5 came into existence.
Yeah. So just as a follow-up from the $1 and the $1.05, and your just overall overall opinion, when these change orders come in, do they generally tend to skew in the increased fund direction?
Yes, generally so. I mean, there are items, as you saw in today's meeting, where there were some allowances and contingencies that are built into various contracts that end up getting credited back when they're not used. Yeah. But all told, the net effect, we don't have huge numbers that are set aside in allowances and contingencies, but we do see some credits come in. But the net, at the end of the project, they're more often than not a net increase.
Okay, thank you very much.
And just to let you know, Councilman LeBron, whenever we do vote on an item, and maybe while I'm talking, Jack can scroll back to an actual change order. But for each individual change order, we do indicate the budget for the project, the amount of change order, and the amount, I believe, the amount left in the contingency. Is that right?
That's correct. For this example here, which is it's a smaller assignment, the Pioneer Builders contract for the pre-K classrooms at Burns. But you'll see that their starting contract value is, for conversation's sake, $1.1 million. And the total net, including some credits that came back with their allowances, to date is about $43,000 on $1 million worth of work was added due to to issues that occurred. And you'll see these reason codes here in the breakdown: D for a design issue, F for field conditions, asterisk is for other, as noted. And this one was the fire marshal wanted something extra in the sprinkler system, and the allowance credit is another other, because the reason is we didn't spend it. But we do. These are generally the only thing you're not seeing on this list is an O for an owner request. If there was something that happened after the design was approved, and it was kind of elective, that was approved through the owner.
The owner's contingency, just to show, so the owner's contingency is where this money comes from, And so we note also the decrease in the owner's contingency whenever we do a change order.
Yes, and this being a net cost to the project of $17,000 caused this owner's contingency, which will fund our work through the renovation of the work, came down by $17,000.
Yes, thank you for the quick tutorial. I appreciate it. I don't want to hold anybody else, so I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Well, only an item per item. You're asking for a much bigger number, which I'm sure Arcadis, ONGC, and I will provide to you.
The 5,000 foot level.
All right, thank you very much. If there are no other business, motion to adjourn.
I do have one comment to make. We're showing the next meeting of November as November 23rd. The third Monday of the month is November 16th. Tony, do you know of some reason why we're pushed, or was that a typo?
I believe it was a typo.
Okay. So again, keeping our third Monday of the month schedule, holiday impacts notwithstanding, the next meeting is scheduled for November 16th.
Also on that subject, I did receive a text from Mr. Stallings, and I agree with him. We get too many cancellation notices for these meetings, and it's very confusing. If we could cut out the cancellations and just send out Zoom invitations.
Well, other than some adjustment I know I need to make for our January and February meetings, I believe the invitation that went out that included today's agenda will take us through calendar 21. We just picked the third Monday marching forward, but because of Martin Luther King Day and President's Day, we do have to make adjustments for January and February. But everybody should have their calendar plugged in with HSBC items.
And I'm sorry for going on about this, but whenever I look at my calendar today for this time slot, it has 2 cancellations and 1 actual meeting. So I think that's what Mr. Stallings was responding to.
I think those are probably the in-person meetings that originally were on our calendar.
I believe that's correct,
TJ.
And that should clear itself up, for after the November and December meetings.
Thank you.
Yes, it will. Yeah, by the end of the year, it will be cleared up. I can take them off the calendar now, but because I don't think we'll be in the library in December, so you should receive at least let me see, cancellations for November and December. I may have sent it out for November, but you're going to receive no cancellations for this year after December.
I want to thank Ms. Oliver and Councilman Clark for joining us. I really appreciate it. And we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moves, Kim Oliver.
Second, TJ Clark.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
See you November 15th. Or November 15th, is that it?
16th.
All right, November 16th. All
Okay,
right.
thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.